Yo, Kasura here. We are back with another video, a bit of a different kind of video today. I just wanted to talk about the recent news for 2.4 and my thoughts on the future for global going forward. I've also read a lot of comments recently about the whole shortening of the patch and catching up to CN. It definitely feels like there is a lot of divide amongst the players, as you can see here on my two polls that I did in my community post and even during my stream. Obviously, this isn't a representation of the whole player base, but at least we can kind of get an idea of where some people stand. Before we talk about both sides wanting or not wanting to catch up to CN, we have to take a look at what sparked all the recent comments and arguments, and that is with the 2.4 devs broadcast, stating here that starting with version 2.3, we will adjust the duration for some of these subsequent versions. Version 2.4 will last from March 27th to April 24th. This is going to be a 4-week patch, and this is the shortest patch that we have ever had in the global version. So you are probably thinking, okay, we will be compensated with some pulls to help us out. Unfortunately, all that's stated here is that we will be getting 15 candies. So this made a lot of people not happy, but if we go back in time, they technically did mention giving us pulls, although I'm not a fan of how it was delivered. So I went back and compared what they have done in the previous versions when they started reducing patches from 6 weeks to 5 weeks. If we go back and look at the 2.0 devs broadcast, they shortened the patch by 1 week from 6 to 5. They did give us 600 clear drops and 5 candies as additional rewards, but they did not specifically say that this was compensation. Another FYI, a week of dailies including the weekly rewards will give you 730 clear drops. Okay, moving on to the next patch, the 2.1 devs broadcast. Again, you can see here they are acknowledging that they are reducing the patch from 6 weeks to 5 weeks. Again, they are going to give us the same rewards of 600 clear drops and 5 candies. Okay, cool. At least we are still getting something to help us with the shortening of the patch. Now on to the big one, patch 2.2. There was not a devs broadcast, but a whole live stream celebrating the patch 2.2, the patch with Angel Nala. Lots of amazing news such as the Assassin's Creed collab and the Discovery Channel skins. The patch for 2.2 was actually back to the normal 6-week patch, as we can see here on the 2.2 event summary page. Now this is an important part, and I will just play the clip first.
尽快见面。当然还有版本内容的时效性嘛，也一直是大家经常提及的点。所以通过这次的联动版本全球同步，我们也是希望能一定程度上满足大家这个需求，给大家带来更好的游戏体验。不过为了达到这个目标，我们会调整海外 2.3 版本之后部分版本的更新时间和版本持续时长。
So as you can see, they said a lot of players asked them to be more timely with the updates, and that could mean a few different things. The one everyone's thinking is that they could mean wanting to catch up to CN, or just they could mean that the patches being 6 weeks long was a little bit too long and it felt like there wasn't much to do towards the end of the patch. I've seen a few comments saying this actually. And also, I don't know exactly what they mean by this. This is all just my speculation. They also mentioned in the 2.2 livestream that they have plans to shorten the patches from 2.3 onwards, so that does make sense to why 2.4 is only 4 weeks. So this is not really a surprise. We were already warned at this livestream. In terms of compensation, again, they do not outright say it is compensation for the patch shortening, but they just say it is extra rewards, which are 20 pulls, 10 given in patch 2.2, 10 given in 2.3, and if this is for the patch shortening, then that's amazing because 20 pulls equals about 3,600 clear drops. Again, for reference, 730 clear drops from 1 week of doing dailies and weeklies. I want to make it clear to not confuse this with the usual 20 pulls we get whenever we get a true limited character. As you can see here, we also got a separate 20 pulls here for the patch for Angel Nala, as we did for Lucy and also Ju Nancy here. So these 20 pulls distributed in 2.2 and 2.3 seem to me like the quote-unquote compensation for the accelerated patches post 2.3. If that is the case, then I think we are compensated very well, but unfortunately not at the best time. What I mean is that if you are a new player who starts in 2.4, the shortened patch, you will have missed these 20 pulls. I personally think they should have split it up, as in 10 pulls at the start of 2.3, then at the start of 2.4 we get another 10 pulls as, quote unquote compensation, so that people don't think that they are just receiving 15 candies for the shortened patch. But let me ask you, is 20 pulls really enough? 2.4 is already a 4-week patch. How about 2.5? Well, now that I think about it, 2.5 will probably go back to being 6 weeks because there is a true limited character coming, Liang. But what about 2.6, 2.7? 2.8, etc.? What if they make those 4 weeks? Those 20 pulls we got in 2.2, 2.3 will surely not be enough. If we don't get pull compensation, it is not only going to hurt free-to-play players, but spenders, especially spenders who buy the roaring month. Every 4-week patch, they lose out on 3,120 clear drops. Okay, back to the history. So after 2.2, we got the 2.3 devs broadcast, and we are still reduced from 6 to 5 weeks. And here you see these 10 pulls that we were promised from the 2.2 live stream. And now back to the present, we are back at the 2.4 devs broadcast. There are no extra clear drops, just some candies. Now that we know what's going on, let's go ahead and talk about the two sides of wanting to catch up and those not wanting to catch up to CN. I do acknowledge where each side is coming from, like for example how staying behind a few patches allows for people to plan and save for units, while others who want to catch up are tired of having double banners in global, and by catching up to CN we will most likely have the normal rerun banners like they do in CN. I think these two are the biggest arguments, because if you have the foresight to plan and save, you can always get the unit when they release. For example, you could have gone Tuesday in 2.1 and now you don't have to worry about going on the double banner in 2.4 to get Tuesday. Okay, let's go ahead and change the scenario. What if you are a new player or got really unlucky on Tuesday's initial release in 2.1 and you couldn't get her? Now you have to go up against the double banner in 2.4 that does not guarantee a Tuesday. That scenario kind of sucks, right? And that's the fate for all these new Willow players trying to get Tuesday. These new players never even had a fair chance to get Tuesday on a normal banner because they didn't play in 2.1. So if we catch up to CN, and if they do somehow eliminate the double banners, we will most likely have their banner schedule with normal reruns and new players could safely get Tuesday. So now you might be saying, well, if we catch up to CN, we will lose our foresight and potentially miss out on the latest units like Olaf or Recoleta. Well, that's fine, because if you don't get Olaf or Recoleta on their first initial release, you can always wait and save until their normal rerun, because again, there won't be any more double banners for them to be on. You just have to wait 2 to 3 months for their normal rerun. So now, are you saying you want them on release instead of waiting for a normal rerun? The people wanting to catch up to CN also do not want to wait 2 to 3 months to get the initial release of Olaf or Recoleta. Aren't you both just wanting the characters as soon as possible, but just in a different way? So at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong answer, because everyone likes to play the game a different way. However, the one thing that both sides should agree on is that whatever Bluepock decides to do, we should all get compensation pulls if they decide to make the patches shorter, and that's it. So yeah, if you made this far, you're a real one. I'm going to quickly wrap up my thoughts on this whole situation and what I think of global moving forward. I'm going to start off with the reality of things. Even with the shorter patches, we are not going to catch up to CN anytime soon. At the pace we are going right now, it won't be for another year or two before we even come close to CN, and that's just a fact. From a global Reverse1999 content creator standpoint, I would definitely enjoy being caught up with CN, because I'd love to play all the content and characters without having to look for information from CN players, because sometimes it feels like I'm looking through a CN lens where all the information trickled down to us has been influenced by CN's perspective, and in turn it kind of influences how we think about the patch and characters before we even get a chance to form our own opinions. And I guess you could tell me to play CN, but making an account to play CN is not very easy. Plus the constant need to translate everything, with the translation sometimes not being accurate, really makes playing CN overall not enjoyable and kind of unreliable. So yeah, I'm open to the idea of catching to CN, but I think the one thing that would really make me quit is if by the time we do catch up to CN, global still has double banners. Then I'm out. Yeah, I really wanted to pull for Kakani this patch, but like I said, I don't support these types of banners, and if I did pull on these banners, then that would just make no sense, right? In order to, hopefully get rid of these banners, we should not be pulling on them. The reason for this video is I don't see enough people talking about this. Also, there hasn't been a lot of hype around 2.4, or honestly not much hype around the global side of things. Is it because global already accepts its fate and we just kind of accept whatever Bluepock does? If that's the case, then I guess this will be my last time talking about this, because if no one else cares, then there's nothing I can really do by myself here. I've said it multiple times in the past in these videos that I just want what's best for the game and the players. I want to grow, I want more people to experience this game, because I genuinely just like the game, and that's it. Alright, thanks for watching until the end. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, but make sure to keep it civil. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.